1.
Principles of the Constitution. The 13 states once controlled by Britain, so the 13 states broke away from Britain and created the Articles of Confederation so that they can come together against Britain. They won the fight, but as soon as they found out how weak the Articles of Confederation was, the Articles of Confederation was weak because the states had too much sovereignty. Therefore, they made the Constitution, which was strong and better than the Articles of Confederation. In the Constitution, the framers included 6 principles: popular sovereignty, limited government, checks and balances, separation of power, federalism, and judicial review. These principles made sure that the government didn't get too much power and gives all people basic rights.
1.
Popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty is a principle that the authority of a state and government is created and sustained by the people votes. Popular sovereignty was made because the citizens of the 13 colonies were tired of Great Britain control. They felt it was important for the new country to be controlled by the people. For example, back during the Civil War, when there were slave states and free states, the government didn't decide which states were free or slaves. The citizens voted on it and decided themselves that the power was laid within the people.
1. Limited government. What is limited government? Limited government is the rule that no one is above the law. Government power is restricted by law that is written in the Constitution.
The framers, who were the people who created the Constitution, so the government wouldn't overstep their boundaries when it came to enforcing laws.
An example of limited government is religion. The First Amendment said legally the government could not tell you what to believe in when it comes to a religion aspect.
The purpose of separation of powers is to prevent the concentration of power and provide for checks and balances. The legislative branch is headed by Congress, including the House of Representatives and Senate. Their main task is to make the laws.
The executive branch is responsible for enforcing laws. Its powers is vested in the president. He is the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. The judicial branch interprets the meaning of laws, is comprised of the Supreme Court and other federal courts.
Together, these 3 branches help get stuff done without one person being in charge.
Checks and balances. The framers were concerned about one branch of government gaining more power over the others, so they established a system of checks and balances. What does checks and balances do for the branches of the government? By creating 3 branches of government, the delegates built a check and balance system into the Constitution. This system was built so no one of our branches of the government could become too powerful. An example of checks and balances is the president's power to veto laws by Congress. The executive branch can say no to any laws passed by the legislative branch, but Congress may also override the president's veto with 2/3 of a vote. The court may find a law passed by Congress and signed by the president unconstitutional.
Judicial review is when a citizen finds a law unjust and sues someone for carrying out an unjust law. By presenting it to the Supreme Court, then they rule it unconstitutional or unconstitutional.
An example of a judicial review is Okerfield. Its case when their laws were preventing homosexual marriage, so it was challenged and overturned for going against the 14th Amendment. Now, every state homosexual marriage is illegal.
Is legal and recognized.
This was made to keep the legislative and executive branch in check, using the judicial branch to determine unjust laws made and carried out by the government.
1.
Federalism. The framers chose federalism rather than a unitary system because people didn't trust a central government. They chose federalism as a way from preventing tyranny by dividing the 2 distinct governments. They wanted to split the power of the government between states and national so that neither could become too powerful. An example of the divide of power is like the federal government has the power to admit laws and state government can establish local government. Federalism is about governmental power. Power is divided between national and state. In the U.S., some power belongs to the states and some to national. The federal government has the power to declare war and regulate trade, and states have the power to make their own laws.